This is the Amp Hour Podcast, recorded August 12th, 2015. Episode 262, Jobs for Weirdos.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Contextual Electronics.
I think I need to change my career because it's getting boring. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog. I need to say something else.
That's so 5 years ago.
Yeah, right.
What do you want to do next, Dave? What's your next career move?
Just get into marketing like you.
Oh, low blow, man. Low blow.
Yeah.
Low blow. I maintain I've still made more boards than you have in the past. I've made more boards than you have in the past 6 months than you have probably in the past 2 years.
Yep.
How you like them apples?
But I haven't sold my soul to the marketing man.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe I like this stuth. Maybe
I like my gig, thank you very much.
I know. We were talking about this last night. I'm in a different role now. It's a little, I have a split role, but it's a little different. It's definitely challenging. I definitely don't know what I'm doing a lot of the time. So
I did get to say I told you so.
Oh yeah, you definitely.
Yep.
You took a lot of. You always take a lot of joy in that. So
I do. What?
Yeah.
It's those little joys in life that. Yep.
Yeah. Well, hey,
totally.
Hey, man. I am very blessed in what I've had going on for me. So I get to travel and I get to meet new people.
Yep.
And
it's good.
Maybe someday I'll get to meet your dumbass in Australia.
Right. Well, it is a very good job for travel. It's those for those youngsters out there, and I get a lot of people asking, "Oh, what sort of job should I get?" I would say if you're young, go after one, even if it's not that ideal a job. Go after one that has travel. Get somebody else to pay for you seeing the world.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like, I do agree with, like, the travel part's cool. Yeah. And I definitely agree that that's better before you have a family. Like you've said, like the travel.
Oh, yeah, no, totally. Once you have a family, it's just crap.
Right. And I mean, that's true for everyone. I think it becomes much tougher. But I don't think I agree with that, actually. I mean, I benefited greatly from having really strong mentors, like at Keithley. Like,
I will add a caveat to that, if I may.
Yeah, okay.
In that, don't take a shit job just because it's travel. I mean, but if you saw a torn between, should I take this one or take that one? Take the one that has potential for more travel. That's
okay.
Just, If you're into that sort of thing, some people don't care, but like some people ask, do I regret anything in my career? Well, one is like staying at the same company for too long. That's one of the things. And two is probably not, taking ones that had travel roles and got to see more of the world on somebody else's dime,
Yeah,
so,
okay.
Maybe,
but that's not always the case,
it's not a big regret. It's just something that I look back and go, that would have been nice,
Yeah, but Aussies travel all the time anyways, right? So you guys...
Oh, well, yeah,
the rats of the world, man. Rats of the world.
Yeah, that's it. Rats abandoning a sinking ship at the moment with Tony Abbott. Jesus.
Oh, yeah, we won't get into that.
No.
I don't know. I think I think it is a balance, of course, right? It's always a balance.
Right,
but,
of course.
I don't know, I think that the key things for me are like if you can find, especially if you can find a manufacturing, something close to manufacturing. I think a best case scenario job would be like a place where you have to travel, and at least in the States, it's very common that if you're going to be with manufacturing in any way, you're going to have to travel overseas to get to manufacturing facilities because
of course.
They've all left. But then when you come back home, you have people that you can learn from. You can, there's a culture enough that you can go and ask questions from people.
Right.
Like that part is really important, I think. I think that
totally. I don't disagree. Don't take like a traveling salesman job where your whole career, but it's something maybe in manufacturing that, like odds are you're going to have to go, to the manufacturer a couple of times a year or something like that.
Right. Or a vendor visit or something like that.
Exactly.
Or training, on-site training kind of stuff.
On-site
like all
training,
that stuff.
something like that. If you're a field applications engineer here in Australia, for example, you'll go to the US and Asian countries all the time for all these, manufacturer support training seminars and things like that, right?
I don't know many new engineers that are FAEs though. I mean, have you ever met a super young FAE, like out of college, kind of?
Oh, geez. Good point. I don't know.
I don't think I think they just don't hire
so.
because they want you to be like. When I think about progression of like the engineers I've known, it's usually been like, okay, engineer gets out of school, goes and really hits it hard, like design job. They're a junior engineer. They're doing the grunt work, but like learning from someone. Then they're moving up into like a senior role. Even a senior role is like usually 5 years in an engineering company, and then like 10 years in, they're like an expert. And then they get hired away because FAEs get to, they want like like maybe they'll be like a manufacturer FAE, so like they'll go work for a TI or a Maxim or something like that, and they'll be traveling around to the area because they know everyone anyways, or they know some people in the area, and they know the technology real well. And then usually then from there, I see them move more into the sales side because they want to move up in the
financial food chain.
Yeah, exactly. They want to make more from each sale type of thing. And then eventually management, stuff like that. That's at least what I've seen. I mean, like, I don't think that's bad.
No,
I mean,
true.
I think a lot of that's a natural tendency. I think keeping a foot in the technical after 15, 20 years is the hard part, honestly. Wanting to and then seeing your peers kind of going on and making more money in these other roles or being your boss. And it's like, a lot of people, they're like, well, I don't want to be an underling forever, so then they make that switch too.
Right.
So,
yep.
And I mean, like
some
you've
people,
seen,
you can just be like totally unsuitable for management, like I am. Like everyone knows, Dave is not management material.
But you're a business owner, so I mean, there's that stuff, and you've even said you've been interested in the business side lately, and that's been, that's been a new challenge for you.
Interested in it, it's a thing I have to do because I have to do it.
Interested in making money via it, right? I mean, like that's interest too.
No, right, of course, yes, because I need other. Avenues. But it's not,
I don't know,
like
Dave.
if I was young and single,
you've been interested in this stuff, though, right? I mean, like you're not like, oh, I hate this. You're like, oh, well, it's a challenge. I have to do it. But like,
but I'm not. I don't think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's something that I have to do for the family for the future. It's
you haven't been going back for the MBA yet,
right?
Oh man. The day Dave goes back for an MBA, folks.
Yeah,
it's all over. Shut down the podcast.
Yep.
Oh, it's all over.
Shoot me now.
So travel's good, I guess.
Yeah, travel's good.
And meeting people.
Should have got more of it.
I think if there was one thing that I would tell a young engineer, it would be the hard part is getting to know people. Especially outside your own company. Like getting to know people in your company is good, and you start to. You get to know people outside it.
There's this thing called the internet nowadays,
Yeah, but that's different too. I mean,
I know. True.
Like, I know a lot of people via the internet, but like, I only get to see them maybe once a year, or like some of them I've never met.
Social butterfly, you.
Right, exactly.
Me? I know 10 million people on the internet and never met them.
Right, exactly. And it's like, but when I think about like the actual, like job prospects, the practical feet on the ground kind of thing, like,
right.
Like. I got jobs because I got my next jobs because I knew people, right? So like
exactly
my job when I moved back up here was because of a former co-op friend, and my next job from there was because I have an FAE that told me about a position that opened up, kind of thing. And like the thing is that like that's what you have to do. If I was going to keep hopping around, it would be through FAEs, through people I've met before, through sending emails of like, hey, what's going on? Like the catch-up email or the let's grab a beer email, like that kind of stuff. That's where the mobility happens. So if people are looking for jobs, that's what you got to do.
Can I flip that around and say an alternative way of doing that?
Sure.
Not you knowing people, but people knowing you.
Very true. Yes.
Right? If I had to get a job tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Dead easy, because people know me. It's not who I know. I wouldn't go off to people and say, hey, have you got a job? They would come to me. All I'd have to do is announce, hey, I'm available. And
that's totally realistic, but I think it's
right.
totally less common, right? I mean,
yes, definitely.
The legwork between.
The thing I'm getting at is make yourself public, make your projects published, have a public profile so that people get to know you, not just you're that kid who hangs around everyone else and tries to get to know them, right?
I see. Right.
That's where I'm going with that.
I think that's right. Yeah, I think that. I mean, it's gonna be both, right? I mean, like it.
Yeah.
Like and it's gonna change based on the jobs you want to get too, right? If you want to get another job in the area, you get to know people in the area, and they might not be on the internet, right? It might be the FAE.
That's right. Yeah, that might be
hardly
local.
checks his email, but is on the phone all the time. If you want to get a consulting gig across the country or across the world, then you get people to know you, and you can ship your work wherever, you can travel wherever.
That just happened the other day, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my mate. My mate Doug. Everyone knows
Doug,
him, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he. Actually, a customer of his emailed me. Through Doug said, email Dave, he might know. And they were looking for like a PIC firmware person, right? And they wanted to know, like they were desperate. They couldn't find anyone local, right? They couldn't find anyone at all.
Anyone at all?
They were so desperate to find somebody who could, because their PIC programmer left or whatever, and they've got nobody, right? And so they've got this firmware that they need to, update.
When you say their
and
PIC
maintain.
programmer left, I imagine like a pickaxe walking out the door. Like,
Right, yeah.
oh, that's artificial intelligence is really
got
moving
up.
up.
Walked out.
Yeah, yeah, it's weird. It's a weird day. Too much coffee today.
Oh goodness! And so he came to me, and I went, right, I'll ask around. So I asked somebody that I knew, like local, because we had met before, and he said, "Yep, I'll do it." And then
Nice.
boom, I put them two together, and bam,
Yeah. Well,
Off they go.
and it's I don't know. I mean, I don't know if in your hiring stuff. I guess you've seen this a little bit so far, but like when you get to that point where it's like, oh, well, we need this person with these skills, like it goes from 7 billion people in the world to like, usually like 20 maybe,
right,
and then like 15 of them don't even call you back because they're not interested, and of the 5, maybe one or two of them, but the other 3 are lurking there somewhere, and you just can't find them. Like they're just not out there. They're not on your radar. So it's
that's the thing. Like I think all 80 people who applied for my job, right, for my intern job here, like I've kept their resumes because I might need somebody else for something. Right, so the first port of call, I'm going to go back to, if I need someone for something else, I'm going to go back to those resumes. Right, is anyone suitable? And then I'll contact them.
Yeah.
It's yep.
The dreaded "don't call us, we'll call you."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not what it is. It's we'll keep your resume on file. That's what they say.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I actually had so many people email, like who actually applied for the job I had, and who sent in a resume. Like I personally replied to each one of those, things, and thank you, blah blah, and everything. So I personally replied to each one of them, and I was surprised by the number of people who emailed me back and said thank you for rejecting me. At least you told me, and you told me why. Like, and they say, yeah, that's so rare. Nobody ever gets back to me.
Right, because usually it's going into like the IBM mainframe, Selectrix 9000, and you're like, oh well, I spelled this word slightly. I had a U in color, and therefore when I was talking about a color LTFT, and because of that, the keyword match is now not 95%, it's 92%, and you don't meet our cutoff, and you had a 3.41 average GPA in school, and we require a 3.43 average because that statistically is it's like, screw you guys, you stupid lazy pieces of shit. Like, sorry, that was a little harsh, but
yeah, exactly. Well,
like
because it's a lot of work. Like it was a lot of work to reply to all of those 80 emails personally,
and that's the reason they don't do it. But also it's just like. So I had this argument with Jeff when I went back to the Engineering Commons, the podcast I helped start.
Right.
And when I was back on there, and me and Jeff, the guy I co-founded with, we started talking about this kind of stuff about like, well, I was talking about education and like, oh well, like you said, right? People should know you should have projects online. And he actually had a really good point. And it's like when you're Intel and you're hiring 1,000 people. Like, you just can't do that. You have to use some kind of other metric. You have to use some kind of filtering. Yep. And, like, I do have, I have empathy for that a little bit, but I don't know. Like, at a certain point, like, what do you really like? It's going to be garbage in, garbage out kind of thing, right? It's like if you
Of
don't,
course.
if you don't actually look at resumes,
But
I don't.
they don't, because it's an average job requiring an average person, and everything works on averages, and they hire so many people that they know that on average X% are going to be shit, but it doesn't matter, right?
Right.
Like,
Well, and I can't argue with it too much because honestly, I got hired in a class of 200 when I got out of school, right? And it's like
really?
I know that I was in the same.
I guess you felt so special.
No, I didn't know. No, I can. No, I mean I was hired with really smart people. They were all very capable, but it was like we were learning fab stuff, so it was like they didn't give a crap. I mean, they're like, are these people capable enough? And like that was the only reason I had a job after school. And I get it; it's fine. Like, but. So I have to be okay with it, but at the same time, then I think about, when I really think about it, so we were talking earlier in the show about best case scenarios of jobs and stuff like that too. I think the best jobs too, personally, I think the best jobs are also the small to medium sized companies, anyways, and so. People are always looking for these big brand name companies that they're like applying to. Like, oh, I applied at Apple and I applied at Intel, and it's like,
right, yeah.
Okay, well, what about the Keithleys of the world, or the obviously that's my only example here, but
or the Joe Blogs down the road who has an engineering team of 10,
the EEV blog, or the contextual electronics of the world, right? And it's like that's where you're really going to learn because you're going to have to do everything anyways, and you're going to actually have a human being look at your resume like that. That's a best case scenario.
That's totally different. When you're like maybe if you're in a company, I don't know, I'll throw a number out there, maybe 100 people. Right. A company like that might have an R&D, an electronics team of 10 or something.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yep.
Couple
techs, couple senior engineers. Perfect.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So a real person is going to read your resume, right? Generally, like a real technical person is going to read your resume. They probably haven't got a big enough company to have a HR team. Right?
Yep.
So, maybe 50 people, you probably wouldn't even bother with like a HR person, right? So, I
have a story about this actually from
go for it.
So when I was still at Keithley, and obviously they got bought by Tech, and I was helping recruit up at MIT. I met this guy, and he walked up to me. This is a promo for people that are going to job fairs. Well, I guess it would be not for a couple months yet, but going to job fairs and doing weird things. Talking to employers. I had a guy walk up to me, and he handed me a picture of his bench. And I've never so instantly fallen in love with a candidate.
Yep.
I was like, I don't even need to see your resume. I don't care. And then he handed me some PCBs he's worked on, and I'm like, okay. And then, so this is at MIT, right? Super smart.
Right.
I mean, they're all smart anyways, but then on the opposite end of the spectrum, my story is...
No, they might all be smart, but they're not all passionate.
Right. Well, that's exactly right. So the other end of the spectrum, obviously I was there with Tektronix, and the other end of the spectrum, a kid walks up to me, and he's like, so what do these do? And I'm like, it's an oscilloscope.
Yeah, right.
I'm like looking at his resume. He's like, I took all the EE courses. And I'm like, I don't care.
Man, that's I
hope I didn't sign like an NDA about not talking about this stuff. I don't think I did.
Right.
But who cares?
Come on, this is just
this is anyways. But so then I was back in Boston a couple weeks ago at the Hackaday meetup thingy at Artisans Asylum, which is one of the hacker spaces there, and it's the same guy. It's the guy.
It's the same guy.
And I walk up to him because we had brought him in, we had interviewed him, everything like that.
Did you hire this guy, by the way?
We tried to.
Bench too?
We tried to so hard. We gave him a great offer, everything like that. He's like, oh no, I'm going somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
And I see him at this event, and I'm like, hey, I'm like punch him on the shoulder, I'm like, what the hell, man? What are you doing here? Because he had said he was going out like Northwest, and I'm like, so yeah, what do you? He's like, oh yeah, I've been working on PhD for a couple years now. And,
right. Okay.
And actually, if you saw on Twitter, I don't know if you saw, there was a posting I did. I'll link it in, but it was a ticker tape thing. Like it was a what's it called? Paper code.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, did it have the amp hour on it or something?
It had the amp hour rocks, and then that was actually in binary and stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
It was him, and it was
okay.
It's a great project. He saw all this cool stuff. So
nice.
Yeah.
So how do we have any advice for the youngsters out there how to stand out at these career
events?
I tell you that we don't have these here. Like this is like a this is not a thing that's done here that I'm aware of anyway. Maybe in
like
some
job
incredibly
fairs?
small
No?
form, yeah. Like maybe there is, but then when I was a boy, there was never anything like that, right?
Yeah.
So I have zero experience with
well,
job
when I think
fairs.
about like, so I've done a couple where I was, standing there all day. I have things to not do. I know that. The first thing you don't do is you walk up and you say, "So, what do you guys do?"
So what? Yeah, do not do that. That was going to be my first tip. Do not do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Even if like everyone has a smartphone now, just look up the company before
I know,
you walk up to
before
them
you
and be
go
like,
to the booth.
"Oh,
It's not rocket
I
science.
love your sprockets that you work on. I was just looking
Right.
at them the other
Yep.
day. It's called
Research
lying.
them. Yes,
It's called lying." And
right, of course.
I'd
No,
love for an
it's just called doing your research.
Right. Yep.
And even before the internet, you would do this. You would find out info about the company.
Right. But now
Right?
you can procrastinate and do the research on site. That's what I mean.
Now, yeah, it's easy. You can
Yeah.
stand in front of the boop and then walk up, right? 2
Yep.
seconds later and know enough to bullshit your way.
Exactly.
In-
Bullshitting is
into
a,
the
is
comment
a
through the first
time-honored
person, right?
tradition, folks.
That's it.
Listen to Dave. He knows this, and I've learned from him. I am a disciple.
Young Padawan learner.
Yes, that's right.
Dear, oh dear. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
And
I mean, like
walk
walking up
around
with a PCB, right? I mean, you've always talked about that,
absolutely.
right?
Take your stuff along. I mean,
Of course.
it's the same as a job interview, really, isn't it?
I mean, it really is.
What's
It's a first
different?
impression.
Come along with the photo of your bench. Wear a T-shirt that has "This is my bench," like, and
God.
then just walk up.
That
like,
would be amazing. Right. Dress up like a
not?
bench. I mean, I don't know, like, so I think about so if someone rolled up, like, my old Portalab thing, the thing I was working on, like, if someone rolled up with
Right.
a Portalab, like, how would I be able to?
You would like all the because they're usually tech people. Are they like? I need to like people who man these job fair booths, like from
Well,
technical
again-
companies. Are they usually technical people or are they HR droids?
It depends. Like, usually that's the thing. Like, usually the bigger size companies will
Yeah.
send, a lot of HR type folks.
Right. Yeah.
And then, but like, as you get smaller and
But
smaller.
you can spot them a mile away. You can spot 'em.
Exactly.
Like you can spot the engineers versus the HR droids. Approach
Exactly.
the engineers. Yeah.
Right. Look for like the nerdiest people.
The
You'll
nerdiest,
always be
smelliest,
fine.
Disheveled people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Those are the ones you want to talk to, anyways, right? And
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that's
and,
right.
And one of the frustrating things that a lot of people say, like that I always got frustrated with too, was like, so I used to go to these job fairs. I mean, this is almost 10 years now, right? So I was looking in like
As a
05, 06.
as a punter.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Being like a punter is like a
Job
seeker.
searchee.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, job seeker. Punter. Yep.
Yeah, and so I would walk up, and what they do is like, so everybody, they prep you before, and they're like, oh, well, wear a suit, and oh, well, have multiple copies of your resume, and you need to be on your best behavior, and
Ah,
all that.
Yeah.
And then you walk up to them, and they take your resume, and they're like, do you have any questions? And you're like, you can ask them some questions, and they're sitting there in like jeans and a t-shirt, and you're in a full
Yeah,
suit.
right.
They take your resume, you're like, so what's going on with my resume here? Like, oh yeah, you have to go apply online. Like that's
Right,
the
yeah,
common
right.
thing these days, and it's
Right.
like,
Ah, really?
So it's really just like a promo thing.
right.
So
So it's just so it's just advertising their company so that
However-
you go check them out later. That's lame.
however, no, but some companies do send legit engineers that will be hiring people, and that's the thing. So if you walk up and you don't hand them a resume, you hand them a board you've worked on, or you just have it with you, and like, hey, can I show you this thing because I've been showing everyone here, that kind of thing. Like, that is totally legit. Like, you will be remembered. You won't be remembered
Absolutely.
with just a resume. You will be remembered with a picture of your bench or a
You
board
will
you
not
bought.
remember faces. Like it's like me meeting people at the trade show booth, right? I'd be standing, and lots of fans would be coming up, right? Shaking
Yeah.
my hand and how you doing? Just brief conversations and. There's, I'm sorry, but I probably wouldn't remember your face if I met you last time. But like I had, we'll talk about the Maker Fair coming up this weekend, right? I had a guy contact me, like I heard him at the Maker Fair, right? It was actually in one of my videos, right? He had this, LED belt buckle, right, that he designed.
Yeah,
It
perfect.
had
Yep,
like
yep,
a
yep.
microcontroller with a belt buckle and everything, right? And, he emailed me like a month ago or something, and this was like 2 years ago I met him, and he went, you probably don't remember me, but I met you at Maker Fair. And I went, yeah, I do. You're the guy with the with the LED belt buckle.
Or if you just
right?
lead with that, right? It's like, hey, if you may not remember me, but I was the guy with the LED belt buckle. Like these are like mental hooks that it's like,
that's what he
how
did.
are you?
It's like,
I
of course I
recognized the
remember
guy
you.
in a city that I thought he was no longer living in, you know, like
Yeah.
because of this picture of his bench, right? I mean, it's the same thing. These
That's
mental,
right. Yep.
because as nerds, we are not primed to remember people. We are primed to
No,
remember
exactly.
sweet,
Tech.
awesome tech, right?
That's right.
Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, I mean that's what you do, and you hook them with that, and then
Right.
like that's how you get to know people, right? I mean, like even like people remember you, Dave, because of your craziness and your Aussie accent, right? I mean,
Yeah,
like
exactly. Yeah.
they remember me because why do people live in Cleveland? I don't get it. Yeah. So, yeah, no,
So
I think
yes,
that's totally
do
legit.
that, people. Stand
How-
out. Be memorable.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the same thing, but with you know, and then if you hand someone a resume and it says I documented this whole build on my blog or on the Hackaday project site or somewhere else, then like that, then they'll go and actually look at that. It's just about
even if you had an attitude and said I didn't bring my resume, this board's my resume.
exactly.
I would go. That's memorable.
Right.
That's memorable to me.
Right.
Right.
And
Have
it
some
depends where you
attitude
want to work
too.
too, right? I mean, like,
Oh, right.
If
Yeah,
you
of
want, well,
course.
no, if you want to work at like, like, I think, well, first, and the other thing I wanted to say too, like, so as someone who stood there before, I've like 8 hours a day for 2 or 3 days straight, but at the bigger ones. I went to like Michigan
Wow.
University.
Yeah.
You get so bored, like, and like, and
Right.
you hear the same.
Same crap every. Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
it's like
I know.
everyone's like,
Yeah.
it's so people that haven't done internships or haven't done anything
Right.
else outside. They're like, yeah, well, I've, in this in this class we did this stoplight project and it was a state machine and I can tell you all about it. And I'm like, no, I've already heard about it. And I don't want to like discourage the person, but like I want to have someone
Yeah.
that like that has interest and passion outside of
Right.
EE 101, like type of stuff, like people that it's fine. I got started in college too, but like just even anything, like then I went and did a co-op and, like then I was able to talk about stuff on co-op and stuff like that. I'm not sure how I got the first job, but like just having anything else other than, and we all
Yeah.
did this exact same project.
Same
And let me tell
thing,
you about
yep.
the challenges that I, met. And
Because you're getting so
Bested.
many people from. Is it just people from that university, or do people come from other universities to the?
Yeah. So like I would go recruit at. So far I've been to recruit at like Toledo, which is south of here, or sorry, not south of here, northwest of here. Case, which is where I went to school, Michigan, and then MIT, and
Geez, you've been around.
yeah. Well, that's the travel stuff, right? That's actually a good way to
Right.
travel is to do the recruiting stuff, because you're
Sure.
young and hip, and I was hip, Dave, in my polo
No, you
shirt
were hip.
tucked
You're one
in
of
with a
those
belt.
hip nerdsters. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also about finding a company that likes you for you, like a culture fit as well. Like I said, if you rock up to a booth with attitude, this board is my resume. I don't need no stinking
And they say,
resume.
"So?"
And they like you, right? Then that's probably a good company fit for you, right? It's like
Well, and the
whereas
next
if
thing,
they
the
go,
next step there though is if they say, yeah, you're cool, and then you say, am I going to be working with you, right? If you want to be like, if you don't want to just get pawned off to the next person who doesn't give a crap, right? So
exactly.
yeah,
And I mean that totally. No one will tell you to do that. You'll only get that advice here on the Amp Hour, right?
custom advice.
Nobody,
yes.
because it will rule out a lot of options for you, right? If you go in with attitude and stuff and you don't conform, that'll might rule out a ton of options for you. But so what? You
Right.
know, like get in the job you want. That's probably a good way to get it.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
a
I think
a good way for it to find you.
I think
so
the
to
only
speak.
way, there's only two ways in, right? There's the traditional path, right, which is going through the computer system and having
right.
the perfect resume and then being matched up against a bunch of people that I've
Useless criteria. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to discount them, but like
You're right.
I also don't want to compete with them. But I'd rather, But then when you go through the less traveled route type of thing, and you meet people somewhere else, and like like you hear about jobs that don't exist yet. I just recently told someone about a job that like literally doesn't exist yet. And I was like, hey, look, this isn't a thing yet, but if you're a good fit, it'll be a thing for you. And
Right.
like that's common. That's what.
Oh,
that's
a lot of companies I've worked at, even big ones. They will, they'll have like almost an open hire policy.
Yeah.
Like if a good person comes along, they'll sort of like invent or find a role for you.
Yeah. Right.
You know.
Yeah. You don't
It's
go
like-
work at Google X from like oh well I went to a job fair and then I was the best of the best and and then I got all the way through. It's like. Yeah, you have to have something else there. It's not like, how many people have 4.0s from MIT, and even still,
Right.
like, how many of them actually could, go into, like, a weird culture like that and then still be a good fit, I just don't think that's the common thing. It's the Jeremy Blums, it's the Ben Krasnows, I guess those are the only two I know there right now, but
Right, okay.
but those two are definitely weirdos, and I like them, so.
we do like weirdos because
we do
we're
like weirdos.
pretty weird.
Yeah.
So.
We found each other, Dave.
Yeah. Right. And also,
okay.
if you're looking for jobs, don't just go to job fairs. Go to the
Meetups.
trade shows.
Yeah.
Well, of course, go to meetups. We talked about that before, and go to trade shows as well. And if you like a company, go up to the trade show booth. Once again, try and find a real engineer. Right,
Yeah,
you
find
you
the
can
weirdos,
spot them a
folks.
mile away. Yeah,
Yep.
you can spot them. You can smell them usually. I don't want to stereotype, but like,
That's a bit of a stereotype, I think.
Right,
that
yeah, it is, I know,
Hygiene
totally.
is not
But
an indicator
no,
of
it's not.
awesomeness. But
no, it's not. But yeah, no, you can just tell.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Anyway,
totally can.
yeah, try and you can definitely tell the salesmen. They're just too slick looking. They're just
Yep.
like usually.
And if
So,
if it's
anyway,
not, from,
hunt
we don't
those
want to
people
say that
out.
you should be super judgy, like physically or
No.
from like looks, but like come on, like within like 5 minutes, if you're like, oh yeah, and then I built this PCB and it had some a couple current shorts, and if they're just nodding, if they're not asking you
Right.
another question of like, oh well, how'd you find
Uh-huh.
it, like
Right, then
if they're just
exactly.
nodding, then and then you say,
Yep.
well, what have you ever had that problem?
See, and what you do is usually it's a perimeter thing, right, around the trade show booth, right? The bigger it gets, the bigger the perimeter is, right? The outer perimeter is usually staffed by the slick salesman out there, ready
Right,
to
right.
target
Drawing
people
you
as they
in.
walk past,
Yep,
drawing you in. And the engineers are like hiding in the back because they're usually not that forward and social. So you want to dart through the frontline defences and get into the bowels of the trade show stand,
Yep.
and then get talking to her, and then just go, hey, look, I've got all this stuff, I think your company's pretty cool. Is there anything going,
Yeah.
And
Let's
then
do
and
this.
then and then they might go, look, I don't know, but I'll ask around. And if they like you, you give them your business card. They'll probably, because they're engineers, they'll probably email you back and say, I checked, but there's nothing at the moment. But hey,
Right.
if there is,
but
I'll
the best
let you know.
engineers would be like, hey, but my buddy's looking, and I don't give a crap
Right?
if
Yeah, exactly.
corporate hears that I'm telling you about that kind of thing. Yeah. Right.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the best way to do it.
Finding
yes.
a job.
Yeah, we don't have to do that anymore.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's tough, but I mean, like you said, I mean, like being, I think both going out there, going to meetups, meeting people like that, like that's good. You got to be a little proactive on that side of things, but also just documenting the project, stuff that our audience is already doing because we know we've seen their stuff, right? I mean, like that kind of thing is what will get you to that next level. I think like that's
Right.
that's the stuff where, and even if it doesn't, right? Even if you're not looking for that, or if it doesn't, like. Having your stuff out there, there's just all these benefits, these snags that might happen, these helpful snags that might happen as you crawl through the underbrush of life.
And that's a good way to do it. Actually, get known by putting your stuff out there. If you're not a people person, if you just can't talk to people, there's a lot of nerds like that. It's once again, don't want to stereotype, but
Well, I think people listening to you might say, "Oh, well, I'm not going to do video, right?" Or obviously I do
No,
video
of course.
now too.
Yeah.
But you don't have to do video, right? I mean, like it could be a GitHub repo, it could be a blog where you're just documenting projects, kind of things. Like that stuff needs to be out there. Dave and I are hungry to look at this stuff, so. Yeah,
Like
do it.
like me personally, I am not a proactive social person. I'm a hermit who lives in a lab alone, in
I
darkness.
am too, but sometimes I
Right.
play a proactive social person when I travel.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, so if I'm in a room, I'm not just going to, hey, how you doing? Who are you? I'm Dave Jones, like, oh, yeah, that's just not my world.
No, go away. That's my impression of Dave.
Yeah, but if you come up to me and start talking, hey, an hour later, we're still yapping, right?
I've been to probably 50 to 100 nerd meetups in the past couple years now.
Yeah,
and
that's crazy. I've been to none, right?
No. And I'm always uncomfortable, and everyone's always uncomfortable.
Right.
But
the
thing that will bring people out of their shells, and the best way to bring yourself out of the shell is just be like you look at a project and you're like, well, what is this thing? Honestly, like that.
Right.
That is like the nerd speed dating question. You know what I mean? Like that's
right.
that's the one that actually gets people talking about. Oh, well, let me tell you about this FPGA. Like this is a tough FIR filter that I was working on. It's like, oh, okay, I'd love to hear more about this. Like, and it's always genuine because it's like. And when we have a nerd lock, folks, I mean, like,
right?
It's good.
This is how the early culture. You hear about the homebrew computer club, right?
Yeah, right.
and how they used to have their early meetups, and that's how the whole computer industry practically formed, right? The modern computer industry from the homebrew computer club. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but it's
no,
not
but I'm
far
sure
from
the
actually.
culture is the same, right? I mean, it's still people,
right, and exactly,
sharing.
and they would have these huge meetups, right, in the conference hall at the uni, right? But they'd had somebody run it, right? You get to talk about your project, and they'd call you out, right? And then you get to talk about your project, and then afterwards, people who liked your project could then come up and ask you questions, and that's how they broke, the nerd thing. It's not like, they come in and there's cocktails and you just mingle, right? Mingling is like people, nerds don't mingle. Yeah, right? Nerds don't mingle, right? Unless there's a catalyst there, which is hardware or projects or something to, get people to approach you, or you can approach people with, or, know. So if you can stand up for 2 seconds, I developed this, isn't it cool? And then, if you like it, come and talk to me kind of thing. And you'll get...
If you feel social anxiety too, I think that bringing a project is the best way to get over it. I mean, personally, I feel all the time at meetups and stuff like that. But like even just having obviously it wasn't my project, but even just having Google Glass, right? Of people like asking you about it, it's like you're just having like conversation starters like that. And even better when it's like, you got something that blinks and you're wearing it or whatever, like you're just carrying your project around kind of thing. People, it's going to attract the people that you want to be talking to. So
totally.
Yeah. Speaking of documenting projects, we should tell people 4 days left, probably 3 by the time I post this. Hackaday Prize is coming up, so.
Hackaday Prize, yes, I'm judging it again, and
Dave's
I'll probably cop some more flack this year. Yes!
Yay!
How dare I be social and share my thoughts of how I judged. I'll definitely do it again. It was so much fun last time.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and there's a buttload of money on the line, stuff like that, so.
Is there another trip to space?
Yes, same prize as last year.
Same prize.
Trip to space or $190-something thousand. So.
$1,000. They took the money last time. I never really followed up on that, but they did take the money, didn't they? Because
they did.
I definitely knew they took the money because they were a group, so they couldn't send one person.
And then
to
they
space.
Started a non-profit. Actually, it was the Satnogs guys.
Oh, right, yep, the Satnogs, and they started a non-profit.
Yeah, that way, and that
awesome.
Basically, I think that ended up saving them some money as well, and
tax, because it becomes
doing that kind of stuff.
Then.
So it was a really good idea, and then basically now there's going to be a foundation around that, and
sweet,
helping with space stuff, right? So
there should be a follow up with them. Here's last year's winner. Here's what they've achieved.
They've done some stuff. I haven't seen it lately, but I know there's been some stuff with Satnogs lately. So probably on Hackaday, I'm guessing. I don't keep that close to track on it. So.
Even though you work for them. Yep.
Yeah, I work
because you were sort of involved with it last time, weren't you?
I was definitely on stage when the winners were announced. I was there for that.
Yes, I saw you there. So was I on big screen, wasn't I?
Yeah, your face was
looming
big.
over you.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was a really cool project, and all of them were. I mean, like honestly though, so if people haven't done it though, I think even still like the requirements are like you need to have
They're
some
pretty strict.
documentation. Well,
yeah,
no.
like 4 days is probably too late.
No, you can
right?
totally do it still. No, seriously, you can.
Right?
So
Okay.
you need to have like project logs, but like if you started right now, as soon as you heard this, you could go create a system diagram, and then you need
Right,
to have
and
like
then-
4
yep.
updates and a YouTube video about your project concept.
It's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the
okay.
next time through,
Right.
then you have to have like an update video kind of thing. So if you were at the
Yes.
point where you created a schematic and a system diagram and you did some updates with it, I think it's totally doable. So
Even if the schematic's wrong, you can always update it in the second step.
yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah,
actually
or
have
like
to be
3D
working
model
at the
type
moment.
stuff. I think all that
Right.
stuff's good. I mean, people have to check the rules, but it's I think it's totally doable. And yeah, so get on it, folks. Procrastination time's over. There's a buttload of money on the line, so
Yeah, that is a lot of money. That is
Yeah.
a lot of money.
Yep. So yeah, that's fun. That and I think that'll be in
Have
November.
we given up?
No. I was trying to think of the date when it's all over. I think it's all announced in mid-November. So
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
that'll be good. What else? Speaking of big events, so I was emailing with Mike Osman, who's been on the show a bunch before, and I tried to get him on this week. But he's actually off to CC camp rather. So
CC
we know,
camp. Yep.
yeah. So Chaos Communication.
It's the Chaos Communications camp. Right.
Right. So there's
Yep.
the Congress, which is at the end of the year, right around New Year's. The camp is in August, and I'm not sure.
And
they're
this
like
is Germany. This is Germany.
Yeah. So it's in Germany. But if you look at the badge, Mike sent me an email about this stuff, and he's like, yeah. So basically, it runs HackRF firmware on the badge, on the conference badge, which is like
Cool.
super crazy. So I think it was him and Jared. Jared's the guy who does the shield, or not the shield, but like the thing that plugs into the HackRF. I forget the name of it, but I know Jared's part of HackRF stuff too. So, but yeah, very cool looking badge. I don't really usually care about conference badges and stuff like that because I don't go to that
Right.
many conferences, but this one is very neat. And,
I wanted to design one for the Maker Faire coming up this weekend, but
Oh, yeah?
they said, yeah, it's not a bad idea last year, and then I emailed them this year, and they really didn't reply, so they
They're-
obviously weren't interested.
There's like a huge culture around it. So I was looking at so DEF CON just happened too. And there was one for that. And then I also I saw that the one coming up for the Open Hardware Summit, which is in September, that's being done by Parallax. So Parallax is
Right.
doing that one too. And like, so all these things, like they're all like, they're all hackable now, and they're crazy. Like, they've all got like,
They've all
Easter
got
eggs
an
on them.
LCD or something, and they've got
Yeah, I mean, they're
like an
crazy.
e-ink display and all that sort
Well,
of
yeah,
jazz.
that one from not last year, I think 2 years ago, but like that was the Open Hardware Summit one by Anul, and
Right.
the Wyoming Labs or something like that. But yeah, I mean, like it's like an interesting culture. I always wonder, like, it's like I want to just be at the conference. I don't want to go hack a badge, but yeah, I guess some people are really into that kind of thing. So it's a cool culture for sure.
Love to get there one day, but yeah, it's Germany. It's about as
Germany.
far away as you can get from Australia.
Right before you start coming back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of all this sort of stuff, Maker Faire, Sydney Maker Faire
Yeah,
is on this
Sydney Maker
weekend.
Faire.
It just like completely snuck up, and I will be there for the full 2 days.
Nice.
So
no booth
I'm-
though, right?
No booth, no. But I will be there, roaming around. I'm pretty easy to spot, although I'm hard to find. It's hard to find anyone in the Powerhouse Museum. It's a bit of a labyrinth, but that's what makes it so cool. But
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah, I
That's-
pretty much stand out. I'm probably carrying a tripod or something. Yep. And I don't know how much footage I'll get this year because I've gotten footage the last 2 times. So, but still, I can't help myself. Like I'll go there. Oh yeah, I won't take much. And then I end up taking 3 hours worth of bloody footage I have to edit.
Right.
know?
Well, and that's the
Yeah.
same thing as like a meetup too, right? Where it's like, it's projects are literally on display. You're like, oh yeah, I got to talk about this one.
Right.
I got to capture this. So yeah, that's
So anyway,
That's-
yep, I'll be there. So I better
Cool.
actually prepare tomorrow.
any
so
surprises that you'll have on hand or no?
I haven't really thought about that.
bring it
No.
in. Oh, we
No,
gotta
like
bring
a giveaway,
hack,
like a
man.
tweet giveaway. Find me, and the first person who finds, like, I'll tweet, and maybe in the like I
What
did
if-
that at the at the electronics show in Melbourne a couple of years back. I did like a tweet. First person who finds me gets a free multimeter, blah, blah.
Yep.
So maybe I'll do that again.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, you should
Anyway.
you should go like straight Lady Gaga and make like a outfit out of DMMs or something.
I wanted actually to make something to show off. It was a wearable thing, but unfortunately, we ran out of time and some things came up that meant that we, me and myself and David too, couldn't work on it. So, unfortunately, so that's.
Next
that's
time.
a fail. Maybe I'll wear my infrared watch though, my infrared camera watch.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It's kind of like in a few pieces, but maybe I can tape it back
Even
together.
Even better, man. Just
Yeah, exactly.
hot glue, hot snot, and some solder, man.
Why not? I might wear that sucker around. And so I'm easy to find, probably. I thought about maybe I might actually look and maybe organise this today, but I thought about maybe a meet-up afterwards or something.
Yeah. Pick a pub.
I could
pick a time,
pub
and
yep.
you don't even need to buy people drink. I've always said that it's it's just good stuff to set up that kind of thing, and then just publicize it. So.
Yeah, exactly. So I might do that. So watch on my social media and blog and forum and Twitter and all that sort of stuff. So if I can arrange that, I will announce it.
Good.
In fact, I better do a video right after this announcing that I'll be at the Maker Fair. I didn't think of that,
should.
but yeah, I should.
Call a pub,
And
set it
also,
up.
I will be at the electronics show in Melbourne on the 8th and the 9th of September, I think. So that's only like 3 weeks away or so.
Yeah.
So I'll be down in Melbourne once again for the 2 days. So
Cool, man.
Yep.
No booth, though? No booth there?
No booth, no. I'm not hauling all the crap.
Right.
I was not invited. And in fact, they haven't invited me at all to even blog the event, which they've done in previous years. So I don't know what's going on there. I'll just get a normal pass like everyone else and I'll rock up and hang around.
Cool. Well, that's still good, too.
Yeah.
It's good to make connections, right? That's the...
Yep.
That's the...
Yeah. Well,
thing we talked about
that's
earlier.
the problem. Either if you've got your own show stand, you don't get to see the show, right? Because you're too busy on the stand, right? Twice it's been in Sydney now. Twice I've had a stand and I just never get to see the show. And so the one in Melbourne's the only one I actually get to see. And then sometimes I'm like, it's like blogging, so they... Yep, so I agreed the first year to actually blog the event for them, so I felt pressure to, get footage and stuff like that. Whereas if I go on my own, it's like, if I get footage, I get footage. If I don't, I don't. So, yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, so hopefully I can see the show this time. Yay.
Good. Yeah.
It's a tiny show. It's not huge. So, anyway. And apologies in advance if you can't get near me because usually I take 5 steps and then somebody else comes up to me. And, so it's... It does, yeah. And, I want to talk to him for a while. And, so 5 more steps. Oh, you're Dave Jones. Yay. G'day. And, so it's like, it's hard to find me actually just roaming free range. So.
Yep. So we were also going to talk about finding new parts. Not finding Dave is one thing. Finding new parts is another thing. We were going to talk about that, right? Yeah? No?
We
Yes?
were. We noticed something new on DigiKey. How long's it been there? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah,
I haven't touched DigiKey for a few weeks,
but yeah, it's always kind of tough to find out about new parts. And this is
they
one.
have
So
this thing. If you go to the product index, they will actually have the number, next to each category, they will now have a link to, they'll say 90 new products. So if you go to batteries, there's 51 new products. If you go down to boxes, there's 299 new boxes, enclosures, and racks. And there's a big prominent link there, which is great. They're capacitors. There's 38,000 new capacitors.
Well, we don't know what the timeline on it is either. But
what's the timeline?
Yeah, like a month or a couple months or weeks even. We don't know. But
we should contact them and say, hey, you should actually put in a time, in the new month, or have it selectable.
yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Because I'm sure they've got the metadata there, right? They can. This sort of stuff is like trivial to program, right?
Oh yeah. No, part data is super easy, Dave. I definitely know how easy it is. Yeah,
yes,
definitely.
yeah, right. So it should be easy to go. Like you can select, like get the user to select. Okay, in the last week, search for dev boards in the last week. I want the latest dev boards, and sign up for an emailing list where you can get automatically emailed.
Yeah, I don't know if you'd want that. I get those
latest...
sometimes, and like that's a little overwhelming. I mean, like, because even if you look at some of these,
but if you can change, yeah, right, okay.
3,000
because they
new
get so
capacitors.
many of them, right? I know. It's like 38,000 emails for new capacitors, right?
Well, I get other stuff.
7,000 new crystals, yay!
Yeah, right, exactly. And well, this is the problem. So, like, I was telling Dave before the show, like, I used to get the, I think it's datasheet.com. I think
right.
It's a UBM, the guys that own EE Times and EDN and stuff like that. They had something like that where they would, every time these new announcements would come out, they'd send out emails, and I'd look at the RSS feed, and it would be like, it'd be like 3,000 new parts, and of that 3,000, 2,500 are connectors, and they're all just, one letter different or one number different.
It's insane. It's an
insane it's a product
world,
family, right? So, but yeah, I used to go through that, and that's as Dave was laughing at. That is how I dug through new parts to get potentials for chipreport.tv.
And the problem is, right, this, like on DigiKey, the new parts are probably, a new package variant of an existing part. We now offer the quad flat pack, we now offer the industrial temperature range version. So, that probably shows up as new, right? Because each part is... a separate part number, everything else. So that's probably counts, right? Yeah, we just added the military grade temperature range part.
Yep.
Because I'm just looking at the list now, and just for microcontrollers, new products, this is the list for new products, there are 50,507 microcontrollers. And if I go into that list and break it down, right, we're looking at, hang on, I'll get it.
Well, if you're just browsing too, and you just look at integrated circuits, there's 13,000 new ones.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's like,
So I'm looking at 50,000 new. No. There is 2,097. New microcontrollers. So I'm looking through those from all the manufacturers, so I can go into I want new microchip ones, and I can apply the filter to the new microcontroller ones, and the PIC16 F54 is new, right? Come on, that's been out for 15 years, right?
I don't know the PIC stuff, so.
Right, yeah, right. That's one of the old ancient ones, right? That's one like the
but
PIC,
it could be, like you said, it could be a new
1654.
temperature grade or something like that.
It's a new grade, it's a new whatever, right? It's got a new letter after its name, so it shows up in the new list. So
no, and it can be tough. I mean, like all this stuff, it's tough to find out about new parts. Like I think about how I found out about stuff like that in the past. Oftentimes, it was, even though I kept an eye on all this stuff, it was, it was FAE coming in being like, no, this is a whole new family. This is the one you want to be looking at. This is a good fit for your application kind of thing. Like that actual tailored to your needs kind of stuff is actually really, really tough to get. So you'll still have to dig through a lot of crap, but
No, that's right.
But
that's
kind of
part
our job.
of our job is digging through crap as engineers. That's what engineers do. That's by definition... Almost, that's by definition one of the jobs of an engineer. An engineer is to produce a practical solution to a problem, right? That's what engineers do. That's the number one thing. And to do that, you need to sort through, how to develop that practical solution.
Right.
And a huge part of that is sorting through the stuff that's available to do that.
Well, yeah, and so one of the things that I've always said in the past as well is that the tough thing is that I think a lot of young engineers, at least when I was a younger engineer as well, now that I'm old and grizzled like you, Dave, is that I always thought the new stuff would be a good fit. But the thing is, oftentimes the good fits might just be about an older part that you don't know about, right? That's kind of the misnomer there, where it's about true fit to your application kind of thing, and that's where the FAEs and stuff like that would always kind of help me along, kind of thing. So that's where. Sometimes you just have to find out about new parts to you, And so
Yeah, I was never a fan of FAEs coming to me with new parts. I was never like, no, I want to do it myself. I get something I enjoy doing. Go away. Don't bother
would
me.
you would just be filtering and doing that kind of thing, like finding them out like that? You mean?
Yeah, things
Oh,
like
I
that. I just don't care. Go away. Because most
no,
of the stuff they'd always try and tell me is like, no. It's like, just no.
I'd always
Go
be
away.
okay with that stuff, but it was usually like, like if they were pushing like, oh, well, are you going to design in this new part now?
Right. Oh,
It's
yeah,
like,
that's
no,
when
no, I'm not. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to file this away, and then at some point my brain's going to get tickled, and then I'm going to say, oh, well,
That's
there was
right.
what was that thing that
Alright.
Bill told me about a couple weeks
That's
ago?
right.
Like, and then I'll call him up, and honestly, that's the best. Those are the best people that I always work with. Were like the ones who were just like,
Call? You actually call humans up
yeah,
on the telephone?
on the Felly tone, yeah.
You social animal, you.
Yeah, I know. Hey, sometimes it's faster to get people.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I mean, like, and then, okay, or I email someone and just say, hey, what was that thing that you showed me? And they always keep good notes, and then they would send me, even if they just send it to me again, I would go read through those data sheets again. But honestly, I think it's just about that. It's just, like, the best engineers are the ones who are just keeping that mental library going, just kind of that,
Totally.
that Rolodex or Filofax in your brain, and you're just like ready to at least kind of know where to go next, right? Like, oh, well,
Exactly.
I need a temperature sensor, but I need it to be also to output, on an I2C bus. You might know parts that are doing that naturally, but you also might know that, that 8-bit micro you were looking at, like we were talking about last week, that 8-bit micro you were looking at in 5-pin packaging also has an I2C bus output. You could just use that.
Exactly.
That's the stuff that even the best AI in the world is not gonna, at least not yet. I mean, it's not gonna tell you, oh, well, try this micro for your temperature application. That's where
The best use of a Filofax like that is to just know what something is called.
oh yeah,
The
if
Google
Google problem.
I want a chip that does this, but I don't know the name that I can search for. Like, what's the
yeah,
knowing
man.
that is a huge benefit.
yeah,
Huge.
yeah, and that's. I mean, to be blunt, these are the problems I think about all day, every day now.
Right. Yeah, of course, because you're working for the man who does it.
Yes, I'm working for the man, Dave, trying to make things better for you. You
Thanks,
bastard.
Chris. We all
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, all right, there we go. That's what I wanted. I
Group
did want
hug. Group hug.
group hug. Good,
Chris.
good.
Chris needs.
Sometimes, yeah. The other thing I wanted to point out with regards to the chips, though, too, is that so obviously you were laughing at me about Chip Report TV in the past.
I wasn't laughing at you. I just said, hey, that was a blast from the past. Chip Report TV.
I was laughing
we were
at
talking
me
about
'cause
it
it
before
was
the show.
thinking about how it used to be. And like we've done Chip of the Week and stuff like that. And the SparkGap podcast, I don't know if you've seen or listened to SparkGap. Those guys do.
I have not.
They call it part of the show, which is like a fun play on words because it's like, hey, this is the part of the show.
Part of the show.
Yeah. So I love those
Yeah,
guys.
all right.
But they always have good chips as well. And but then there's another one called Nice Chips on Reddit. There's a subreddit there where it's just people putting up, hey, here's a cool part. What's one I'm looking at here, like the IIC controlled LiPo charger, or a cheapest 32-bit MCU P socket 0.58 euros kind of thing, like that kind of stuff. Just like
Right.
people throwing stuff up there and just being able to kind of keep an eye on, like it doesn't have to be new stuff, but it's another source, right? That's another thing that engineers have to do is kind of curate these sources. It's not just datasheet.com. It's not just the DigiKey News stuff. It's not just Nice Chips or us or SparkGap or whatever. It's got to be all of them, it's like you have to be a data hoarder, right? I mean, like you have to, like a lot of people keep data sheets on their hard drive, they'll download them and just have folders of like a potential folder, like a maybe someday folder kind of thing. You have to have that stuff squirreled away in case. And those are the best engineers I've seen have been doing that kind of thing, so
Totally.
yeah. I saw one. I have a chip of the week this week. I haven't tried it yet. That link's broken. Oh no. The TP. I'm excited about this because it's something new. But the TPS 65982 basically it's the first one I've seen where it can do that the USB Type C stuff. So the 100-watt output, I think it can do 100-watt.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
right. The new charging standard.
Right, exactly. So you need the new
Right.
connector. But then the other thing that I
Right.
didn't realize, I saw the connector and I read about it and stuff like that, but it's swappable. So you can plug it in either way, which is great. But then when you think about actually having to handle that stuff, now you have to figure out which pin is which, and like know where to send which data, stuff like that. So there's the multiplexing of the lines and stuff like that, and it's got all the the 5 gigasample per second type of
Right.
throughput, stuff like
See,
that.
that's interesting. Like, because I'm working on the micro supply again,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And, well, David too is. Well, we're both kind of working on it.
Yeah.
And, do I include the new whiz bang, because it's actually rechargeable, right? So
Right.
it's, is the, do I whack in the new USB standard? Well, no, because I don't even have one here.
I say if
It's
you
like,
could,
man,
I mean,
I
like
don't
that
know.
100-watt thing is really, I'm really excited about that. I mean, like
yeah,
I
it's
when
pretty
the
cool.
Chromebook stuff came out and that new Apple MacBook came out, like
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
100 watts,
admit.
man, you can do a lot with 100 watts.
100 watts. You fly to the Mars with 100 watts.
100 watts. Mark Watney, man. Mark Watney can do anything.
That's it. I haven't finished the book yet.
You started it though?
Oh, yeah. I'm like 2/3 of the way through. It's great. I can't wait for the movie.
So excited.
I know. I just like
The Martian. That's what we're talking about
I
here,
hope
folks.
the movie's good. Yeah, The Martian. I hope the movie's good.
I rewatched the trailer today. I saw someone, I think Cackety
Yeah, I
wrote
watched
about it, or
it the
someone
other
was
day.
talking about it. And
There's not a second trailer yet, is there?
I don't think so, but
Because
man.
usually like they have like 2 or 3 trailers, don't they, these
Yeah.
days?
Yep.
Like,
yep.
yeah.
That one,
So-
and I don't know if I told you about it last time we talked about this, Ready Player One. Have you read that one yet?
No.
That
Haven't
one's
heard
like
of it.
super nerdy. It's about like a virtual reality world, but like it's all like these 80 references around that. And
Right.
Spielberg's making that one. I know this is switching into
Oh,
movie mode,
okay.
but Spielberg's making that. And then I just saw an article today that he's trying to get Gene Wilder to play the old, the old mysterious
Gene
dude.
Wilder? Jesus, he's
who's
still
in
around.
He's in retirement. Yeah.
I was going to say, how old is Gene Wilder?
Old, man. He's really old, but he's awesome, right? I mean, like, so, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. So those are my only 2 books I've read recently. But both of them were so good.
He's 82. I mean, of course he's awesome. He was Willy Wonka,
I know, right? And
Here
this
we go.
is
He's 82.
such
Holy
a good,
crap.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. So how did we get talking about The Martian and everything? I don't know. Some movies. Yeah. So you should. You were talking about USB 3.0. You should definitely try to, because that 100-watt. That's what got us talking about The Martian.
Yeah, but whether or not it's, like, well, yeah, it's rechargeable and, it's the future, blah, 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 blah,
I guess,
blah,
yeah,
but,
if you moved it over to
but it's got to
yeah.
be backward compatible, like.
True,
so,
true. Yeah, maybe like
you know.
have it as an upgrade, like leave some room in the PCB for that.
Like, I still haven't decided how big the battery's going to be in there. Like, it may
Yeah.
not,
Yeah,
it
might
may
not be able to
benefit
deliver
from
100 watts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, the 100 watts capable, but you
Right,
can only
right.
charge the thing at, a tenth of that. Right.
Right.
So,
We got a 100 kilowatt or 0.1 kilowatt hour battery, so this thing lasts for not long, an hour.
right.
On
Anyway,
USB-C.
yeah, I might look into it just because it's cool. Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm very excited about it. So.
Yep. All right.
Yeah. What else we
We're
want to talk
done?
about? Nah, come on.
nothing. Come on. The amp hour
Come
is
on.
up.
Come on. People expect
We'll
more,
just
Dave.
waffle on and
They expect us to screw with them while they're listening in the car.
speaking of cars,
I
you
did
might
get
be
one
able
email
to.
about that, by the way.
Right. Speaking of cars, you might be able to in England. You might be able to recharge your electric car as you drive.
Yeah. That's
Apparently,
exciting.
there's an article which we'll link in, and usually I dismiss this, but apparently, like they mentioned in the article, which I didn't know about, these South Koreans, and they know what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
They do solar roadways properly, right? These people know what they're doing, right? They've had a trial in place with these rechargeable things under the road for the last 2 years. Like 2013, they put in a 12-kilometre stretch. It's not a continuous thing, and it's designed for to repower the urban buses, right? The buses that they use, they've got these specially equipped buses which can recharge as they go around. So that makes sense because like a bus, like usually has to stop at bus stops, right? So, like you can actually, you can have the induction coil under the road. Of course, that's how it works, right? It's an induction, resonant induction, process.
I saw one like that. ABB put something out like that at one point where they actually had like a contact charger, but it would be like at the bus stop, plugging into the side of the bus kind of thing.
Plugging into the side of the bus. To have contacts on the side of the bus, and these brushes would come across.
Right, as it drives by, kind of thing.
Right, as it drives by, and
that's
the only real valid way you can do it is have. Otherwise, it'd be too pulsy. As you go, you're traveling at 80 k's an hour. Sure, I just passed the coil. I got 0.1 joules of energy from that. Woohoo!
Right, exactly.
Right.
And we lost 99.9% of energy to the environment.
Yeah. And and that's the thing. It's got to be energy. Like, it's great to be able to recharge your cars this way or your buses or whatever, right? But think of the efficiency, right? It's like the Q charging mat, right? Which you can buy these days. Like my phone
that's
has
actually
a Q
Qi. QI is pronounced Qi.
Yep. Qi, right? The Qi charging mat, right?
Yeah.
And it's designed to be super efficient, right? It takes like 0.1 milliwatts or something, like microwatts when it's not coupled, right? And it just powers up every second and takes bugger all energy just to check if there's something's been placed over it, right?
Okay.
So it's incredibly efficient thing from point of view, unlike U-beam and other crap shit like that, right?
That's a swear word around here, man.
Huge. Like, we're talking about resonant charging a car, right? The amount of energy is massive that's required for this thing, right? And of course, that's great. Okay, the car stops or the bus stops over the top, and it's resonant. It's only like a foot above the coil underneath, so you get decent coupling, right? Resonant coupling. It might be, 60, 70% efficient. Hey, beauty, right? That's great. But what happens when there's no car on top, right? What does it shut down to? How much energy are you pissing away? What's the standby kind of thing? How long does it take to start up? What's the energy required to start up? Blah, blah, blah. They're my concerns that instantly jump into my head when I see an article like this. Like, yes, it works. I'm sure it works, but how efficient is it? Like, when people, they always talk about implementing this on a global scale, citywide scale. It's like, okay, but like if it's like we don't want to be able to efficiently charge our cars if we're going to kill the environment by having to piss away all this energy in the inefficiency of the charging system.
Right. And even if you have detection of like, okay, well, there's a car above me, now I can charge it, or even if it's moving kind of thing, like there's still going to be losses. So I think it is a question.
Startup time. This is why I think like driving over at a high speed is just not going to work. Just the startup time required to detect a car's there, they're like just driven over the top, and boom, maybe at lights. You put them at lights where cars typically.
Right.
Have to stop for a few minutes, right?
Yep.
Then we're talking. But if you just put them on like the motorway, it's just I can't see it working off the top of my head. I just can't see a mechanism to make that work efficiently. So
right, yeah. Well,
prove me wrong.
What I was going to say is, if there's listeners out there that are working on wireless charging, I'd love to, inductive charging rather, not wireless charging.
Yeah, we'll.
I'd love to talk
guess.
to you.
We
love to have you on the
that.
show. Yeah. So, I think that would be really interesting.
Yep.
Especially like the big scale stuff, like Dave's mentioning here. I think that would be actually the coolest stuff, because like I personally don't even like I understand inductive coupling and stuff like that, but like what are the real implications?
They probably already have this in niche applications, like in automated factories, right? They have these automated pallet lift robots and things like that, right? They're not that common yet, but there's a lot of factories that do actually have these automated robots which go around and move inventory and stuff, right? And they're all battery, of course, because you can't run a petrol engine inside a building, right? You've got to have it's clean, right? So right. So they're all fully electric, and they go back to their charging stations, right? And and they charge up. And and they just drive back like they're autonomous vehicles. So they drive back over the charging, whether they're contact based or they might use makes sense to use an inductive charging system there as well. But but of course you can't beat like a direct physical contact.
Yeah,
so anyway.
Yeah, copper, man.
But it would be easier. It would be easier to couple them if it was just an inductive charging mat. So the pallet robot just drives back and whoop, just plonks itself over the mat, and it doesn't have to be aligned perfectly.
Right, and you don't have corrosion problems or anything else like that.
Exactly.
So,
Maybe
contact
issues. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So that makes sense.
And you can do like waterproofing type stuff like that too. Like that's the other benefit of that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Is like totally self-enclosed kind of things.
Yep.
Like that stuff is really useful for that. So yeah, there's definitely uses for it. I think it's just a matter of implementation and then being in situations where if their losses are, that can mount, higher and higher, then you have to kind of start to consider that stuff. So cost eventually always rolls into it. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, but sometimes, you can have a high cost, but if it increases the efficiency of factory, then, cost really isn't an issue.
Right, yeah. That's a good point.
I always have good points.
No, you don't.
Most of the time. Some of the time?
Yeah, some of the time. Sure.
Right, yeah, sure. Yeah.
So
come on, we're done. We're 10 minutes over.
Yeah, we're done. Other stuff I wanted to call out, though, the things, actually, because DEF CON just ended, there's a couple cool articles. There's one about the guy that did the keyboard capture thing in that little charger. I wanted to call that out. He's got a new garage door charger, a garage door capture thing that's really cool. Tony over at Adafruit did some bare metal STM32 stuff out on the Amazon Dash. That was cool, too. And then there's something going on with like the old Intel stuff. I didn't read enough about it, so I don't really know much about that. So, but apparently the old stuff's vulnerable. But what do Dave and I about security? We're using WordPress.
Yeah, that's right.
Please don't hack us, please. The password is 1.
Yeah.
1 2
1
2 3.
Password is the air power.
Yeah. That's the password on my luggage.
How many people are going to go there and check that now?
It might be wrong. Anyways, so I guess we'll catch you next week, yeah? Good luck to everyone searching for jobs, if you're doing that kind of thing. Hopefully this stuff was a little helpful today.
And if you want to meet me, this weekend, Maker Faire. I'm sure, this podcast will be up tomorrow, so yes.
Yes. Cool.
Yes, it'll be up before the weekend. So,
all right.
Maker Faire. I'm
Dave,
excited.
in person.
Yay! Live song and dance show. I'm not giving a talk this time. They didn't really book anything. We did. I will say we did try to get the Was.
Oh yeah.
But unfortunately,
So I think I have to say, if anyone gets a picture of Dave looking forlorn, because he always says this about me, if anyone gets a picture of Dave looking forlorn, I will send them an Amp Hour t-shirt. Dave never puts any backing behind his stuff, but I will send him an Amp Hour t-shirt if you get a picture of Dave looking forlorn.
Great.
All right.
You have to tweet it to the Amp Hour, right?
Yes. Oh yeah. Sorry. Tweet it to the Amp Hour. Cool, man. I'll talk to you next week.
Bye.